Okay, Brian, I think we're ready. All right, thanks, Brian, and welcome everyone to this April 22 meeting of the Homewood City Council. We're going to start tonight, I believe, with a presentation, although I'm not sure I see our presenter. Am I missing Senator Smitherman?
I don't see him. Yeah, he's definitely not here.
I don't see him, but I don't have my glasses on, so I want to make sure.
Definitely not
Okay,
here.
so we'll skip that then, and instead we will go ahead and call the meeting to order. And tonight we're going to start with an invocation from Councilor Andrus, and that's going to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by a Boy Scout troop from 83 from Dawson. So if everyone will please stand for the invocation, and then we'll invite y'all to come up.
Please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessings you have bestowed upon Homewood. Thank you for our city employees, our first responders, our educators, and our neighbors, and thank you for our Scout Troop 83 from Dawson. Our city is vibrant and growing with children of all ages playing in the parks and the neighborhoods. Please continue to bless them. We pray for guidance tonight as we serve. We pray for knowledge, humility, compassion, faith, and open hearts. And it is your name we pray. Amen.
All right, Boy Scouts, if y'all want to come on up, if everyone else will face the flag. I'm going to turn it over to y'all.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Y'all want to get a picture? Yes. Y'all want to get a picture?
Let's get a picture, guys.
There's the mayor right there.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah.
I'll take one for the city. I think he takes one, okay? Okay, don't go anywhere. All right, I'm gonna do it in landscape, Carlos. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's see if I can get a portrait in there. Hold on for Instagram. There we go. Instagram. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
All right. Thank y'all very much. All right, Mr. Segrist, if you'll please call roll.
Yes, sir. Councilor Gwaltney. Gear.
Here.
Alaman.
Here.
Wolverton.
Here.
Sims.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Nelms.
Here.
Andrus.
Here.
Harden.
Here.
President White.
Here. All right, so we have 10 present. Next will be the reading of the minutes from our council meeting of April 8th, 2024. Those have been previously distributed. I would entertain a motion and a second to dispense with the reading of those minutes and for approval of the same.
So moved. Second.
Motion from Mr. Almond, second from Ms. Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are approved 10-0. Next, we have board vacancies. First, we'll start with the Ward 2 Board of Education. I'll turn it over to Ward 2.
Yes.
Received a nomination from Stephanie Banks, and she is a fantastic candidate, and we are happy to make a motion for her to join the Board of Education.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Almond, second from Mr. Wolverton. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? She's approved 10-0. Congratulations to Ms. Mays. Next, we have a Ward 1 Beautification Board seat. Is that still open? Do you remember?
It was supposed to close today.
Today.
I do not know that we received any candidates.
We did not. Would you like to reopen it for 2 weeks or a
2
month?
weeks is fine. I mean, I talked to 2 candidates, so hopefully, hopefully we get somebody in 2 weeks.
Okay, so then we will reopen that till May 6th at 4:30. All right, then we have a Ward 2 BZA position that I think we got one applicant for.
Yes, we would like to appoint Mario Nieves for that position. So that's my motion.
All right, motion for Mr. Wolverton, is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Alamon. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is also 10-0, and congratulations to Mr. to Mario. All right, then we have Ward 4 Park Board appointment. We've had a number of applicants for that, and I believe those interviews are set for the 25th.
They are set for Thursday, and in case anybody didn't realize this, we're doing one of the interviews for Joe Levens at 4:30 because he had some baseball games that he had to coach. So we're gonna do his early, and then the other three will be, I think, from 5:15 to 5:45.
All right, thank you very much. And then finally, we have a Ward 4 Library Board seat, and I believe we got 2 applicants for that.
Right, so we're gonna need to set interviews for that as well, and I guess maybe we can set those for next week.
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem. All right. And then lastly, we have an at-large seat on the HEC. We will open that up, unless anyone has any objection, to May 20th at 4:30. All right. We do have a few additions to the agenda tonight. The first 2 will go to committee referral. First is 230424, request to set a public hearing and consideration for sign variances at 740 Shays Creek Parkway. It's brought to us by Morgan Stanley and David Silverstein Jr., as well as Wyatt Pugh. That'll go to special issues. The next item is also to committee referral is 240424, which is request for consideration of budget amendments for fiscal year 23-24, which comes from vehicle maintenance and brought to us by Blake Graves, our fleet maintenance director. That one will go to finance, and then we've got 2 additions to other new business. The first is 250424, request for consideration to approve city match funds for travel costs for members of the Homewood Historic Preservation Commission to attend National Preservation Conference, brought to us by Councilor Smith. And then lastly, 260424, request for consideration of mayor's recommendation of a new fire chief. Mr. Wolverton? We don't this time because we need to discuss something about that with the city engineer, so, but thank you. All right. So with that, I would entertain a motion and a second for approval of the amended council agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is approved 10-0. All right, so we're going to take one item out of order. It's going to be the last item we just added, 260424, request for consideration of mayor's recommendation of a new fire chief. I'll turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, council. It's been a long, hard battle, I will say. We've had several different interviews for the vacant fire chief's position. Thankful for our fire department, a lot of them which are here, for continuing to do their jobs to the best of their abilities. I know we had an issue today as well with an apartment fire, so thank you to them for taking care of that. But after several first-round interviews and then having a second-round interview as well, we had some excellent candidates. I'm so proud that they wanted to come to Homewood and look at what we do here at the city, and we are just so excited that we had so many applicants for this position. But after much thought, and JJ, of course, thank you so much for being in those interviews with me, we have come to the recommendation for Brandon Broadhead. And so we are recommending that tonight, and hopefully we'll get you guys to vote.
All right. So we have a recommendation from the mayor, but it would be nice to have a motion in a second.
Second.
All right, so we
Second.
have a motion for Mr. Harden and a second for Ms. Andrus. Any questions or comments from anybody? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is 10-0.
All right, it's unanimous. You can get up here now.
Come on.
2 seconds, I do want to share something. If you ever give me the opportunity to speak, I promise you I'm going to take it. Because somebody once told me, if you ever get the chance to speak about your department and you don't do it, you have failed them. So first, I'm incredibly humbled and honored. One, to make the second round of fire chief interviews here in the city, knowing the other candidates were there, was humbling. I guess really the best word for it. But in the coming weeks, as I add a stripe to this jacket symbolizing the fire chief's position, I want you to understand that I don't take that lightly. I know what that responsibility, what that extra stripe means. I understand what the fire chief's job is in the city and what we are here to do. I want to read just a very quick excerpt from a letter of recommendation I got that I am extremely proud of, and I might have shared it with a few of you, hopefully. But it was from one of our patients here recently, and she wrote, it was the daughter, "My mom had a horrific fall down our stairs and suffered a brain bleed. She was unconscious, did not initially know what had happened. The situation was dire, and I cannot stress how wonderful the calm care and swift actions of the Homewood firefighters who arrived to help us were. We put her in the ambulance, truly not knowing if she would live. I later found out that one of our very own firemen insisted on riding with her to advocate for her upon arrival at UAB. What a precious gift to know she was not alone." Skip a paragraph, and then above all this, in my mind, however, it is that Mr. Broadhead exemplifies what it means to go the extra mile and hold his team of heroes to the highest standard of excellence. He's also shown to me that he cares deeply for the people of our city, and that this is precisely what our firefighters are called to do, to selflessly care for the needs of others in the moment of our greatest fears and weakness. I read that because it talks about me, but what it doesn't say in there is that I didn't prompt that. Our firefighters, our first responders, saw a need, they took care of it, just like they're doing right now on an apartment fire over on 29th Court. And that is the type of firefighters we have here at Homewood. That is going to make my job extremely easy. And you guys giving us the tools we need to recruit the right people and the culture that we need to make sure that they stay here at Homewood is why we are what we are today. So I'm very appreciative of this opportunity, and I want to thank you for this incredible opportunity, and let's continue to work together to make Homewood a safer and stronger community for all. Thank you. I failed to mention my family because most of y'all know them, but my wife, Amber, she's a teacher at Edgewood, 4th grade. Jillianne is the youngest here. She'll be kindergarten at Edgewood next year. Mary Catherine is 2nd grade at Edgewood, and Allie Grace is Homewood High School, a sophomore. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
You got a smile out of that. That's good.
Absolutely. All right, so with that, we will turn back to the regular order. We don't have any items on the consent agenda tonight, so we'll go to the old business agenda. The first item is 11:02:24, bid opening set for tonight for 4:45 p.m. with a deadline for submission at 4:30 for fire facilities maintenance bid, brought to us by, I'm going to say Chief Broadhead now, of the fire department. And we'll have a report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We opened the bids this afternoon. We had 7 bids, so it's going to take a little while for the chief to go over that, but we appreciate all the people that submitted a bid, so he'll come back to full council with a recommendation at the next meeting.
Great, then we will carry that item over without objection. Next item, 010424, request for permission to staff planning technician position, brought to us by Cale Smith, and another report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met on April 15th, and after hearing from Cale Smith, we voted 4-0 to recommend approval of this item.
All right, I just realized I didn't announce the resolution number for the chief. That one was 2444. So this one will be 2445. We have a motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's 10-0, and as I said, resolution 2445. Next item, 020424, request for consideration of budget amendments for fiscal year 23-24. This is the Microsoft line item brought to us by Brandon Sims, our IT director, and J.J. Bischoff, and another report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. After hearing from Mr. Sims, that'd be Brandon Sims, we voted 4-0 to recommend approval of this item.
All right, so we have another motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 10-0 and will be Resolution 2446. Next item, 030424, request to surplus 1999 Ford F-450. And the last four of the VIN are 6075. A 2009 Ford F-150 with the last four of the VIN 9346. And a 2013 Ram 1500, last four of the VIN 5604, as well as various equipment. It's brought to us by Berkeley Squires and Jamie Hope. And we'll have another report from Finance. Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee voted 5-0 to recommend approval of this item, this ordinance.
All right. Mr. Kendrick, will you give us a first reading?
Yes, sir. It's hereby established and declared that the following described personal property of the city is no longer needed for public and municipal purpose and therefore declared surplus property. Namely, a Toro Multi-Pro 1200 spray, a Toro sprayer model 07367, a Jacobson lawnmower, a Jacobson Tri-King lawnmower, a Toro Real Master lawnmower, and the three vehicles which Mr. White described, a 1999 Ford F-450 Super Duty truck, a 2009 Ford F-150 truck, a 2013 Ram 1500 truck. Section 2, the mayor and the city clerk authorized and directed to dispose of the property by auction to the highest bidder.
All right. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? And if not, I would entertain a motion and a second for unanimous consent.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Alamon, second for Ms. Gear, and roll call vote, please, Mr. Sechrist.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gear,
Yes.
Alderman,
Yes.
Wolverton. Yes. Sims. Jones. Yes. Smith. Yes. Nelms.
Yes.
Andrus.
Yes.
Harden.
Yes.
President White.
Yes. All right, so that's 10-0, and now entertain a motion and a second for approval.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Gear, and another roll call vote, please, Mr. Sechrist.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gear,
Yes.
Alderman,
Yes.
Wolverton. Yes. Sims.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Nelms.
Yes.
Andrus.
Yes.
Harden.
Yes.
President White.
Yes, so that is also 10-0, and that will be ordinance 2896. All right, next item, 120424, request for consideration to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Carr, Riggs, and Ingram for accounting work. Item was brought by myself, and we'll have another report from Finance, Mr. Jones.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Finance Committee voted 5-0 to recommend approval of this item.
All right, so we have a motion from Finance. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is approved 10-0 and will be Resolution 2447. Next item, 040424, public hearing set for tonight for consideration for condemnation of the apartment building at 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18 Aspen Cove at the Park at Buckingham, brought to us by Wyatt Pugh. And we will start with a report from Public Safety. Does anyone know who's reading out Public Safety tonight? Since Andy isn't there. Ms. Gear, can you pass down that sheet right there with the highlighting on it? Yeah.
After hearing from Wyatt Pugh, the committee voted 4-0 to recommend approval. The motion was made by Councilor Nelms and seconded by Councilor Jones.
All right. So with that, I will go ahead and open this public hearing. I see Mr. Pugh up there. Mr. Pugh, if you'll give us an overview at this point.
Very briefly, it's an apartment building that burned several years back. It's been sitting in a sort of a increasingly dilapidated state. Here are some pictures shown of the current state of it. There is a fence that's sort of haphazardly placed and not well maintained, protecting the public from access to this unsafe structure. So at this point, the abatement board voted to send it for condemnation.
All right. Is there anyone else here to speak to this item? If not, I will close the public hearing and ask if there are any questions or comments from council.
Wyatt, have you had any communication with the management company?
Not since last week's committee meeting, but
Okay.
I have leading up to this.
Yeah.
And I even made them aware that they're sort of making plans to demolish it according to them.
Okay.
But I told them we were gonna need to go ahead and move forward
Right.
with some action.
We
and-
can't wait on them to
and
make
the-
that.
That's right. And
decision
if
anymore.
they do come up,
Right, they've had plenty of time to do it.
and if they do come up and say, oh, we're ready now, that's great. We can
And
still work with it.
I met with the owner, I guess, last week, not knowing this was going on, after our meeting on Monday. And he talked like he was gonna get a fence up and move forward. I think one of the problems is he's got a Georgia-based environmental company that's gotta get state registered. Does that make, isn't that what it is?
I think that's what they told me also.
Yeah, so they can't tear it down till the environmental report's done. But I asked them if they'd just get a fence around it and secure it. That's all we really want to do. And I asked them to contact you, and clearly that hasn't
No
happened.
one's contacted me.
Here's the thing, they've got, what, 60 days from, if we decide to condemn it tonight, don't they have 60 days, or is it 30?
They have
30
30 days to appeal
Yeah.
it with the
So
county.
they'll have 30 days, John, and then,
All right, anyone?
Just a quick question. I think consider this as a formality, but just, we've got a map and then we have some pictures. I can't, just the entire site though. None of the building that's being up for demolished, is there anyone currently living in any part of the building even?
No.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
All right. Anybody have a motion? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the condemnation.
Second.
All right, motion from Ms. Smith, second from Ms. Gear. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is 10-0, and will be resolution 48, excuse me. All right, and before we move on to our next item, I believe I see Senator Smitherman, who wanted to join us tonight. So, Senator Smitherman, feel free to come on up.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, it's good to be somewhere other than Montgomery at the moment. You know, we're down to the last 7 days, and I use this illustration of, you all remember the Nestle Quick? You know, when you put it in the milk and you stir it, and you know when you get down about this far to the bottom, it gets a little thick. Well, we in the thick part right now. So hopefully I take the spoon and I kind of thin it out a little bit the next few days. But it's a pleasure being here, and thank you all for having me for this moment. I just wanted to come and make a presentation to the council, and in our Jefferson County Fund that we have, I want to present to the council a check for $10,000, and it's to be used just for your general operation. You know, that's what, I just labeled it at that. I figured you all would know better how it probably needs to be used as it relates to this city. So I just wanted to present this to you, and if there's anything else I can do to help you, let me know. And if I can do it, I'll do my best to do it.
Well, thank you,
Thank you
Senator.
very much.
We very much appreciate it.
Very grateful.
Do we want a picture maybe with the mayor getting the check?
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well,
Could you do that about once a month for us?
maybe not once a month, but maybe once a quarter.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
And that's your list. You all are welcome. You're more than welcome. And remember what I said, just let me know. I'll be glad to do it.
We will. Thank you, Senator. We appreciate it.
Excuse my time, but in one life, y'all know I'm in the legislature.
We were just talking about how sharp that tracksuit is.
In another life, you know, I practice
Spanish
law.
section of Hollywood.
There's such thing as lawyers, there's such thing as lawyers. I'm not doing anything else, you know, I coach boys basketball at Ramsey. So you see a product of me leaving school looking like this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
All right. Now we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, 050424, request for permission to add 14 parking spaces in the right-of-way at 65 Old Montgomery Highway for Covenant Presbyterian Church. This is brought to us by Cale Smith, and we'll start with a report from Public Works. Mr. Wolverton.
Yes, after hearing from Cale Smith and Daniel Taylor, the committee voted 4-0 to recommend approval pending the indemnification agreement. The motion was made by Counselor Harden and seconded by Counselor Gear.
All right, so we have a motion from Public Works. Any questions or comments?
I do.
I do have a question.
Okay,
Sorry.
Mr. Sims?
So we talked about this and looked, I know they submitted the right-of-way improvement, but currently their plan is to do straight-in parking and not angle parking, correct? And after just looking at that site some more and thinking about the way that that's used for running along the side of that road, I just want to make sure that we don't have a safety concern as it relates to the way that road's used. And, I mean, after looking at it, I prefer that there be some type of angle parking versus straight-in parking. But if somebody on the traffic engineering side can say that there's no different safety from a safety standpoint, then I'm fine going straight in. But I have a concern about the way it's currently structured as proposed.
I think, if I'm remembering correctly, Cale, didn't they say the reason they had opted not for angles is because in order to do either angle, people would end up having to back out, go down the road and do U-turns to get back going the right direction?
Well, and I did look at it from that perspective, and they have a roundabout right there where people could go in and turn around and come right back out at the angle. So I just wanted to talk about it because now's the time to talk about it.
Well, I share that concern. I was about to make the exact same comment. So I know that road is used by pedestrians and runners, so a lot. And it's not limited to Sundays, and it's not limited to Wednesday nights. I mean, it's during 9 to 1 during Monday through Friday as well from the daycare.
So if there's enough concern about it, I mean, then we'll send it back to committee and have bring them back for the committee to discuss it. So why don't we do that? We'll go ahead and send this item back to Public Works Committee.
Daniel Taylor is not here, but I think it's Marty is here, and maybe he can speak to
Yeah,
concerns.
because
I can't.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something y'all are willing to consider or not.
Yeah, Marty Crawford, I'm on staff at Covenant. Basically, it seemed like the angled parking versus the straight-in parking, to us, I don't see any big safety value in one or the other. Maybe the folks who study parking all the time do, but to us, the backing in and out seemed like kind of a wash. But it would help us. We're blessed to need more parking, so that, at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for.
Well, and so I guess if you want to change your proposal to angle parking, first of all, Cale, I don't think we don't have a drawing for this yet, anyway.
That's right.
So, so if you want to proffer that tonight, that you'll change it to angle parking, we can continue with the item. If not, and we need to have a further discussion, I'm happy to send it back to committee next week, but I would prefer the discussion to go on in committee rather than out here.
Yeah.
So it's really just kind of a yes/no thing tonight.
Yeah, I'm fine to go back to the committee. But I guess the other, and which was mentioned, the other point is our high usage times really don't conflict with the school. Obviously, Sunday morning doesn't conflict. We do have a day school. Their, high usage times are right around drop-off, which is 9 a.m., right around pickup, which is 1 p.m., and then, obviously there are other times that occasionally it would be used, but those are the prime times, and
Okay. Why don't we do this? I think this probably warrants some more discussion. So let's send it back to Public Works to have that discussion, and we'll meet again next Monday, and we can have a further discussion about it then, and then bring it back to full council.
So we need to meet with Public Works.
You'll need to meet with the Public Works Committee that will be held next Monday night.
Okay.
Would it be helpful for them to get an engineer to draw something up? Somebody that can help us visualize a little better?
I will say this was my struggle in committee as well, and that's what they were trying to avoid doing, was incurring that cost without having approval. And so my apologies because I was part of it coming out to council at this point, but after just looking at the site further, I just have safety concerns and want to make sure it's being done right.
Sure, and this is always sort of the chicken or the egg situation that people have to go through. So that's really their choice as to whether they want to do it. But what I would suggest is if you want to talk to Mr. Smith about any potential safety issues, because I'm sure we'll ask you next Monday as well, and then we'll have a further discussion in committee.
And is it okay if I just clarify, he mentioned the high school traffic, that's not even, I mean, there's more than just the high school traffic, there's pedestrian traffic there as well.
Yeah.
So that's my concern, is the pedestrian traffic, not just the high school traffic.
All right, so we will send that item back to Public Works. Next item, 060424, request to permit a tent in the right-of-way adjacent to 2701 18th Street South on Cinco de Mayo, brought to us by Josh Gentry of Little Donkey and Wyatt Pugh, and we'll start with a report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, Mr. Gentry, who is the managing partner for Little Donkey, wants to put a tent in the 4 parking spaces directly in front of the restaurant during the day on Cinco de Mayo, which happens to be a Sunday. And so they're going to put the tent up at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and it will remain until the next morning when the tent company will come back and deconstruct it and take it down. Like he said, most of the time those spaces are indeed used for their restaurant, especially on Sunday, because some of the other restaurants around the area are not open, and the other businesses aren't either. And they'll get it out of there. They're going to try to get it out of there as early as they can on Monday morning, so as not to interfere with the lunch rush on Monday.
All right, so we have a motion from Special Issues. Any questions or comments? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is 10-0 and will be Resolution 2449. Next item, 070424, request to set a public hearing and referral to the Special Issues Committee for consideration of a sign variance at 3125 Independence Drive, Suite 300B. This is brought to us by EVI.
No, it's not. It's EW.
I was trying to say that's supposed to be
not
EW, right?
Yeah, it should be EW.
Yeah. And Gina Childers and Wyatt Pugh. And we'll start with a report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, we heard from their representative from the sign company, and then I've been communicating with John Delt who is the managing partner for EW Motion Therapy, and he has submitted a letter from their landlord stating that they'll be the only ones who will have a wall sign. The committee voted 5-0 to set a public hearing for May 6th at 6 p.m. and refer this item out to the full council without a recommendation pending that public hearing. The motion was made by Mr. Sims and seconded by Mr. Alamon.
All right, so we will set that public hearing for May 6, 2024 at 6 p.m.
Yes,
It
yes,
is.
it's just EW.
Just EW.
Yeah, Eskridge White.
All right, next item, 080424, request to set a public hearing and referral to the Special Issues Committee for consideration of a sign variance at 401 West Valley Avenue, brought to us by Birmingham Wholesale, James Dean Visual Art, and Wyatt Pugh. And another report from Special Issues, Ms. Smith.
Yes, we heard from Mr. Dean, and this is the former, it was a call center building over near the Big Lots or whatever it's called. And so they are proposing the addition of a sign, and it is slightly larger than what is allowed by ordinance. So the committee voted to set 5-0 to set a public hearing for May 6th at 6 p.m. and refer the item out to the full council without a recommendation pending that public hearing. The motion was made by Mr. Sims and seconded by Mr. Alamon.
All right, so we will also set that public hearing for May 6, 2024 at 6 p.m. All right, 090424, request to set a public hearing and referral to the Special Issues Committee for consideration of a sign variance at 1944 28th Avenue South, brought to us by Southern Immediate Care and Karen Hollis and Wyatt Pugh. And once again, Ms. Smith.
Yes. We heard from Mr. Morgan. The committee voted 5-0 to set a public hearing again for May the 6th and to refer this item out to the full council without a recommendation pending that public hearing. The motion was made by Ms. Andrus and seconded by Mr. Alamon.
All right, so we will set that item also for May 6, 2024 at 6 p.m. All right, next item, 040324, public hearing set for tonight for consideration of an amendment to the final development plan for Sanford University, 800 Lakeshore Drive. Site address is 849 Montague Drive, to permit the proposed construction of a new 3-story addition to the existing north parking deck that would expand the current structure and add an additional 550 parking spaces as a means to accommodate the university's on-campus parking needs. This comes to us from the Planning Commission with a 5-0 favorable recommendation. And I believe P&D's already reported this out once, but why don't you go ahead and do it again since it's been so long?
All right. After hearing from Caleb Martin, the committee voted 4-0 to refer this item to the full council without recommendation pending the public hearing. And the motion was made by Councilor Nick Sims and seconded by Councilor Jalete Nelms.
All right, and so with that, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If y'all want to come on up. And
I'm
just,
just going to introduce Julie and well, Caleb. I thought Julie was getting up, but y'all know Caleb Martin from Cadre.
Hello, how are
hi.
y'all?
If you will, just sign in on the sheet there.
My name is Caleb Martin. I'm with Cadre Engineering, presenting the final, the amended final development plan for the north parking deck addition for Samford University. This parking deck project is an addition to the existing parking deck and was previously approved. With the modification being that we are rotating the structure slightly to retain the arch loft. This parking deck is located on the northwest side of kind of the quad inner circle of campus with the Montague Drive there. Parking deck will be approximately 550 additional spaces and will, by and large, retain the same, facade look of the existing deck. The structure will be, shorter than, lower than the present parking deck there. We are also, was brought to light concerns concerning the lighting with the, the existing structures being, throwing light in all directions. We intend on using, directional lights to send light directly down onto the deck and shielding its view from the surrounding properties. We also intend on updating the existing deck to those same type light fixtures. So.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else here to speak for or against this item? If not, then I'll close the public hearing and ask if there are any questions or comments from council.
I wanted to confirm that the lighting you mentioned, that is a proffer that is included in this. And I just wanted to confirm, you said that, I know you guys talked about a timer, the lighting, that it would go off. It wouldn't be on 24 hours or overnight, 12 hours overnight.
Correct. We intend on using a timer or motion sensing so that when people are moving around deck, the lights are on, people can see, good security. Once, motion is stopped, people are not on the deck, lights dim, and lowers that concern.
And I will say, in our meeting with Samford directly before the meeting, Mr. Polchak said that I think it's going to dim to a 30% level when not in use, and then it'll be on other than that. But like overnight, it's going to dim. Yeah, starting at 11, it's going to dim down to 30%.
Thank you.
All right. All right. If there are no other questions or comments, then Mr. Kendrick, will you give us a first reading?
Yes, sir. It's an ordinance to amend the final development plan for the Samford University Institutional Zoning District I-3 for the properties described in Section 1 below and Exhibit A attached here too. Whereas the Planning Commission of the city has favorably recommended the amendment of the final development plan as required by the institutional district for the property described herein. Now therefore be ordained by the City Council as follows. The final development plan for the following described property described in Exhibit A located in the city of Homewood and more particularly described as 800 Lakeshore Drive, Samford University, with parcel ID numbers 29-0-13-4-10-03 and 28-0-0-18-3-01-09. B, and the same is hereby amended pursuant to the final development plan attached as Exhibit B. Section 2, that from and after the enactment of this ordinance by the City Council and approval by the mayor is otherwise becoming law, that the final development plan attached as Exhibit B shall control the uses and restrictions applicable to the property described in Section 1 and Exhibit A, previously zoned to the institutional I-3 zoning district, subject to the following proffers made by the owner. Number one, the owner shall provide directional lighting on the upper levels of both existing and proposed additions to the north parking deck. And number two, submission of a photometric lighting plan to address ongoing distribution of lights at the campus property line to be approved by the Building Inspection Department prior to the issuance of any permits for the construction of the improvements. Section 3, that April 22nd at 6 o'clock p.m. is the time and place for the public hearing. Section 3, the city clerk has provided notice of, as required by law, of this public hearing. Section 4, if any part of provision of the ordinance declared to be unconstitutional by a court of competent jurisdiction, all of the parts not affected thereby shall remain in full force in effect. Section 5, ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its passage and approved by the city council and mayor of the city or is otherwise becoming law.
All right, thank you. I now entertain a motion and a second for unanimous consent.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Gear, and a roll call vote, please, Mr. Segrist.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gwaltney? Gear?
Yes.
Allemont?
Yes.
Wolverton?
Yes.
Sims?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Nelms?
Yes.
Andrus?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
President White?
Yes, so that is 10-0, and I now entertain a motion and a second for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Smith, second by Ms. Nelms, and another roll call vote, please, Mr. Segrist.
Yes, sir. Counselor Gear?
Yes.
Allemont?
Yes.
Wolverton?
Yes, sir.
Sims?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Nelms?
Yes.
Andrus?
Yes.
Harden?
Yes.
President White?
Yes, so that is 10-0 and is approved, and it'll be ordinance number 2897. All right, next item, 10-0424. Public hearing has been reset for May 20th, 2024 at 6 p.m. for consideration of a final development plan at 232 Green Springs Highway for Bank of America to permit the construction of a 4,235 square foot single-story branch bank, as well as associated parking, landscaping, and other site improvements. This comes to us from the Planning Commission with a 6-0 to 1 favorable recommendation. And we will start with a report from P&D.
After hearing from Connor Patton, the committee voted 5-0 to refer this item to the full council without recommendation pending the public hearing to be reset for May 20th, 2024 at 6. The motion was made by Councilor Andy Gwaltney and seconded by Councilor Nick Sims.
All right, so we will carry that item over for the public hearing on May 20th. Which brings us to the amended committee referral agenda. I would entertain a motion and second for approval of that amended agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Gear, second by Mr. Allemont. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved 10-0, which brings us to other new business. First item, 210424, request for consideration to move dates of May council meetings due to the Memorial Day holiday. This is my item. So we are going to move those dates to the first and third Mondays in May. So we will have council meetings on May 6th, bless you, and May 20th. And then we'll have committee meetings on the other, the Monday in between, and then next Monday on the 5th, Monday of April. Yeah.
So we're going to have committees on April 29th?
Correct.
Okay, and then council on the 6th
6th.
and the 20th?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, any other questions or comments? If not, entertain a motion in a second.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Nelm, second by Ms. Gear. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is 10-0, and will be resolution 2450. All right, next item, 220424, request for consideration of approval of vouchers for the period of April 9, 2024 through April 22, 2024, brought to us by J.J. Bischoff. Mr. Jones?
Councilor Allemont, you'll.
Yes,
you'll do that.
I had the opportunity to review the vouchers this afternoon. Everything looked in order, and I thank Kelly Lee for all her work in getting those ready for us. Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Allemont, second from Mr. Jones. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is 10-0, and will be resolution 2451. All right, last item is 250424, request for consideration to approve city matched funds for travel costs for members of the Homewood Historic Preservation Commission to attend National Preservation Conference, brought to us by Councilor Smith. There's a time consideration here, which is why we're dealing with it on other business, but I'll let Ms. Smith explain.
Yes, this is actually something that the Historic Preservation Commission did last year as well. They get a grant from the Alabama Historical Commission to attend a conference that relates to historic preservation. As a certified local government, our board members are required to attend a certain amount of continuing education or conference hours to learn about historic preservation. So they wanted to do this again this year. Last year, Mr. Griffith, who is the chair of the commission, is the only member who went. This year, both he and Ensslin Crowe would like to go, and they budgeted this in their request to the mayor for this year. So they had budgeted $800 for that. And that's like a match for the grant to send two people to that. It's called the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions Forum. I believe it's in Ohio, and the grant will cover the rest of that cost. So they needed to, this is an item that kind of got lost in the shuffle, and they needed to go ahead and get that done so that they can make their reservations and get that taken care of for the two commissioners who want to attend. And that's why it's on new business and not going to committee.
And just to be clear, this is an item that was already included in the budget. It's just we need to authorize them to actually spend the money that's already been budgeted.
Thank you to Mr. Bowe, who found out the amount of their account, because I had been asking for a while and hadn't gotten that information, and he got it for me in about 10 minutes. So they have plenty of money in their account to cover the match, so that's not an issue.
All right. So does anyone have a motion?
Move to approve?
Yeah. Motion by Ms. Andrus.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Harden. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? As 10-0, will be resolution 2452, which brings us to the end of the agenda tonight. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of announcements. I saw a lot of people at Central Park last week for the grand opening of the new Central Park playground and the sea of children that washed in as soon as we opened the gate. So we were very excited about that. That new addition will be well used for the foreseeable future. Thank you to Councilor Gear and to Mr. George Glover for inviting me to the Steve Skipper art exhibit. For those of you who have not seen it down front, it's incredible. I tell you, the portrait of Bobby Bowden down there is something to admire. It's really incredible, his artwork, and for him to be from here in Homewood, it was a pleasure meeting him. Certainly, we have. I want to thank the Hand and Paw, which is a great 501c3 here in the Birmingham area, for their mutt strut that they had on Saturday morning out at the park. It was great seeing a bunch of runners out there with their dogs and trudging through Homewood on a little misty morning. And then lastly, of course, we have We Love Homewood Day coming up, not this weekend, but next on May the 4th. And we're excited to have finally gotten confirmation for our Grand Marshal for the parade is going to be Coach Bucky McMillan from Sanford University men's basketball team. So we are very excited about that. And we just look forward to a wonderful day. Hopefully the weather holds up.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gear?
Yes, so just to reiterate that the Arts Council event went very well for Steve Skipper. He is a Homewood native and very acclaimed sports and civil rights artist, so if you weren't able to see the art yet, I'd just like everybody to know it'll be up through May 30. And I do want to thank the mayor for attending, and JJ also attended and helped me on several issues last minute, so thanks to both of y'all for being here. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Allemont?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone who was able to make it to the library block party this past Saturday. 1,400 folks showed up, really supporting our library, so I think it's really great that we have such a fantastic institution in our community and that we continue to support it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wolverton?
I will set Public Works to hear the the item from tonight. And then I wanted to say thank you to the police and fire department. We had a situation yesterday for anybody that didn't see or hear about it, where an 18-wheeler flipped over and blocked about 3 lanes of traffic on Oxmoor. We just happened to be about 5 seconds from being crunched by that. We had just exited, gone westbound under the interstate, and looked back as the tractor trailer was tipping over and crunching on the asphalt. So we flipped around real quick, called 911, and then myself and another bystander were able to get the guy out. Thankfully, he seemingly was okay, just kind of bashed his arm up a little bit. But police and fire were there very quickly, and everything was handled promptly and, very organized. And, I guess it's exactly what I would expect and have come to know. So, thank you for everybody that was involved. Thankfully, nobody seemed to be seriously injured, despite the circumstances. And then I wanted to say a welcome to the new addition of Mr. Alamon's family, Byron, who came in a few weeks ago. He joined Hall Kent, week and a half ago? And he joined my soccer team, I think the next day. And then he scored a goal in his first game this last weekend. So it's been really cool to kind of have him come in and hit the ground running, and so we're excited to have him. And then also want to thank the two applicants, the Board of Ed applicant, Ms. Mays, and look forward to good things with her filling that vacancy, and then also with Mario filling the BZA spot. So that's it.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Sims.
Thanks so much. While we're doing a soccer recap, also say that Brandon Sims' son Asaya plays with my son Jackson on soccer, and Asaya had 2 goals on Saturday. So, but echoing Dr. Alamon's comments about the Library Foundation block party, it was a lot of fun, and thanks to Counselor Nelms and her family for joining. We had a city manager info table and talked to a lot of folks, and it was really good. Looking forward to continuing to talk to more people about the consideration. I know there's plans to do that at the We Love Homewood Day vendor exhibit at Central Park, so that'll be great. Also had a chance yesterday to drop by Piggly Wiggly, talk to some Homewood Environmental Commission reps who are working on, just encouraging people to reduce the use of single-use plastics. So they're really doing great things, and I thought it was important to give them a shout out with today being Earth Day. So happy Earth Day to everybody. And also, every time it's Earth Day also means it's my mom's birthday. So happy birthday to my mom.
It was your mom's birthday first. Mr. Jones.
Finance at 5, followed by public safety. And I don't have anything else. Thanks.
Okay.
Ms. Smith.
Yeah, so we are going to do the Ward 4 Park Board interviews on Thursday. Joe Levin's at 4:30, and then the other 3 will be at 5:15, 5:30, and 5:45 for anyone who can be here for those. I am thankful for the hard work of the Historic Preservation Commission. Those folks work really hard, and I think they kind of they fly under the radar a lot, but they do a lot of good work. Super excited about the new playground. We're there for the opening, and it was amazing. Just the kids were like chomping at the bit, like they were almost trying to like sneak in before the mayor had the chance to actually cut the ribbon. And the next day, with school being out, it looked like there were 5,000 people on the playground. I don't know how anybody was actually doing anything because everybody was just crammed in there so tightly, but it's beautiful. It looks fantastic. I think it's just going to be something that people are going to enjoy for a really long time. So very proud of that and thankful for the park board for getting that done.
It's pretty quick too.
Yeah.
That is the amazing thing about the design. If you look from it outside, it appears that, oh my gosh, I don't want to go in there, it's so crowded. But when you go in there, everyone is engaged in doing something and dispersed. I mean, the design is magnificent.
Yeah.
And you're setting special issues, right?
Special issues to follow Public Works.
Okay. Ms. Nelms.
The park was fun, lots of fun. I had did I do the what? No. Right, we'll go when nobody's looking. So if you get a call late at night, it will be us. I got a call from my child that works at Applause, asking me what the heck was going on at the park. I said, it's just the park. So, that's it. I don't have much else.
Thank you. Ms. Andrews?
I do not need to set public, what's the name of my committee?
Planning and
P&D, thank you. What's the name of my committee? But I did want to pass on feedback I got from my former boss from Birmingham Southern. They live out in Greystone, and so he's got 3 kids. He has a child with autism, and then he has a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. So he has really, they have very high standards when it comes to parks. They travel around the area. They go to all the parks. He says, kudos to Homewood. This place is nice, packed, but nice. I mean, it is a major, in all caps, upgrade. So he was very impressed. He's hard to impress. They were very impressed. But I also want to point out, and that we probably have a ribbon cutting coming for the outdoor fitness court in West Homewood. So that has been installed. So go check that out. And then I also want to remind everybody, the Hollywood Garden Club's home tour is this Sunday. So go check that out. They've got tickets
Gotta buy
available.
tickets.
Yeah, you gotta buy tickets. But really beautiful homes, including, I think, the original home in Hollywood, Clyde Nelson's old home. So check it out. Yep. And that's it for me.
Mr. Harden?
I just want to reiterate that I'm grateful for Mike and Bo and his staff and all the work that's been done in our city in the last 3 weeks. Very grateful.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wolf, can you add one more?
Yeah, I forgot one thing real quick. My son just transferred from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts with Troop 97, and they have the annual all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast coming up. So if anybody is looking for a ticket, he was out running around in his Scout uniform selling tickets when I came over to the meeting today. So if anybody's looking, just let me know. Thanks.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything tonight, so we'll go ahead and adjourn, and we'll see everyone in the next few weeks.